everyone, my name is Graphics. In this tutorial, I'll be introducing you to the different commands, especially in the draw tool and the modify tool. Now, when you double click the AutoCAD icon on the desktop of your computer, your user interface will be like this. Now, for you to start your drawing, you have to come to this Get Started and you click on it. Then this new page will unveil. Now this dark area you see here is what we call the workspace, and on this ribbon and tabs area is where you can find your tools. We have the draw tool, we have the modify tool, we have the tabs like the insert tab, annotate, parametric, and so on, right? And down here is what we call the command palette or the command line. So whatever I want to do, whatever command I want, I'm going to write it down here. And if I want to draw a precise drawing, I want to make my drawing precise, I'll come down here. We'll call this the status bar, right? So I use the status bar, where status bar has things like the auto mode, the host object snap, the polar tracking, and so on and so forth. So to save our time, I will introduce you first to the line command. If I click on the line command this way, on my palette, my command palette or my command line, it is telling me to specify first point, right? So I'm going to click any point of my choice. I'll specify it. Let's say from here straight down, anywhere I want to. I might decide to use, since I'm not using any unit for now, I might decide to use, let's see, 8. The distance should be 8. It can be 8 millimeter, it can be 8 feet. So I'll click enter. Right, so this is what we have here. Then if I want to go to the next point, I need to bring my cursor. This cursor you see is what we call the point selection cursor. I'll break it down. I'll also type another 8 depending on what I want to draw. Click on enter. Then I want it to go to the left also. I'll take it to the left, right? I'm going to click on 8 also. I'll click enter. Now if I want it to close up, I can press C, enter. C means close, or I'll just move it up this place and click 8 again and click enter. So it has closed, but now it is still hanging on. So to end this command, I need to click enter again. Now this is what I have drawn using my line command. Similarly, I can do the same thing using my polyline. If I click on my polyline, it's telling me on my command palette down here, it says specify start point. I can choose this. I can say okay, I want this. That's the start point. I can say the distance should be 5. So I've typed in my 5, enter. See where it is. So if I make a mistake and I want to undo it, I'll come up here and I'm going to undo it. Is that okay? So click on the polyline. I'll click on enter to specify the first point. I'll go towards the right. Now I notice one thing, the line is moving in no direction. So if I want to do specific and go in one direction, I'll come to what is called the auto mode here by clicking on it or pressing F8. So if I click on it, so whatever line I'm drawing will be either horizontal or vertical. It will not be in all direction anymore. So I press my 4, distance of 4, right? I'll click on enter. Then I come down again, another 4, click on enter, another 4, just like I did the previous one. Click on enter. Then this time I can press 4 to end it, or I can just press C. Look at my command palette, the C there means close. I click on enter. If I press close, it's going to close automatically. Is that taken? If I press C, it will close what? Automatically. Now, the difference between these two, this is line and this is polyline. Polyline is that the entire line is taken as one. It is continuous, taken as one, while line is segmented. If I touch one part here, only the part will glue. Any part I touch, only that part will glue. If I touch any part here, everything is going to glue. So this is from between your line and what? And your polyline, right? Now, the next command that I would like to introduce you to is the circle command, right? If I click on the circle, if I want to work with radius, right, if I just click circle, I can come anywhere and I'll just click a circle. That is a circle. But now what about a specific dimension is given in the circle? So what I'm going to do is I'll click the circle, this arrow beneath here, then I'll go to, I want to specify it by radius, create a circle using the center point. So I click on that. So if I come here, now you see that it snaps automatically to this point and saying it is what the end point. Only the reason it's doing that is because of what? My object snap is on, right? So the object snap here is telling me that it is what? It is on. This is our object snap here. Once it is on, automatically whatever I want to do, my cursor will always snap as if like a magnet to snap to any important part on my line, like the end point, like the center, the midpoint, like another end point again, and so on and so forth, right? So if I click on my circle command, like I was saying earlier, I'll click on radius, click on this point, right? So if I click on it, it specifies the center point. So I want this end point here to be my center point. So I'll click on it. So if I do that, so I want the radius to be, let's say, 4. So if I type 4, you can see, then I click enter. So that is 4. So if the radius is 4, meaning the diameter will be what? Will be 8. But it's too big. I assume I have made mistake. So what I'll use to correct my mistake, either I use the undo, right, it disappears, or I use the redo, which is up here, it comes back, or I use the erase command. If I click on the erase, this icon you see here, this button you see here is the erase command, then it will show me something like this. We'll call this the pick tool. So I click on it, then I click enter, it disappears. So let me go back to my circle command again. I click on the circle, down here I go to by radius, and I go to the end point as my center point, because on my command palette it's telling me specify center point. So I'm assuming the end point here is my center point. So I click on it, then I'm moving it this way, you can see. So I want the radius now not to be 5 anymore, I want it to be 2. So if I type 2 on my command palette, I say enter, this is what will give me. So it means that from this end here to this center here is what? Is 2, but the diameter from here to here is given as what? As 4. Is that taken? Now I want this circle to be at every given point here. Is that taken? So I don't have to start drawing the circle all over again. What I have to do is to go to what is called the copy command, right? So this is what we'll call what? The copy. So if I click on the copy this way, what do you notice? It's showing my pick tool, but on the command palette, it says to select the object that I want to copy. So I want to copy this circle here. And the next thing it's telling me is, if I click on it, then I press what? Enter. Now it says that what? I should specify the base point where I want to move actually. So I want to move from the center here. So whatever you are doing, always read from the command palette here. So if I click on it this way, then I start moving. You can just continue that way, continue that way, continue that way, then just click enter, and everything is what we have here. Is that okay? Now the next thing I would like to introduce us to again will be the mirror command, right? For instance, I don't want this tool here, let me use the erase command. This is erase. I click on it. I come use my pick tool. It's telling me to erase the object, so I want to erase this circle here, and I want to also erase the circle here. I click enter. Start again. Now I want these two circles here, instead of me redrawing them or using the copy command one after the other, I want it to come here simultaneously. So what I will do is by using what is called the mirror command. So this is what we call the mirror command here, right? So if I click on the mirror command, you read the command line here saying that what select object that you want to mirror. I want to mirror this, and I want to mirror this. I click on it with my pick tool, then I click what? Enter. Now what's it telling you? It says specify first point of mirror line. So I want it to be exactly at these two ends here and here, right? So I need to get the center, because I need to get the center of that line. The center is the midpoint. So I can just click, then I'll drag it down this way, then I click enter. Is that taken? So this is what we have here. So this is what the mirror command can do. Is that taken? Or if I want to mirror all this you have here, I'll go to the mirror command again, and I'm going to use the window, this window here, and I'm going to select everything here, right? Then I'll click enter. So if I come at any distance here, I type any place here, I'm bringing it down, automatically it comes up. You can see that? So that is the mirror command. So now let me do away with this. Let me erase this off. It's off now. So I'll go back to the copy command. I want to show you something. So if another command that I can actually use here is the trim command. I want to trim this. I want to remove all this part here and ensure that this line is not going into the circle. So I'm going to use what is called what? The trim command. So if I click on the trim command this way, then it's telling me to, once you click on the trim command, you must click enter. So don't forget that. Click on the trim command, you click on enter. So whatever you don't want, I don't want this. So whatever I don't want will be deleted to the nearest boundary. And I don't want this. Similarly, I don't want this, and I don't want this. Is that okay? And if I like, I might decide to remove this also. And if I like, I might decide to remove this also. So whatever I don't like, this is what we call the trim command, right? And if I want to redo them back, I can actually click on the redo button, then everything I did will come back. So if I click on the trim command again, I'll click on what? Enter. So move my pick tool to where I don't really want. So I don't want this, I don't want this, and I don't want this. I don't want this, I don't want this, and I don't want this. So this is what we actually have. That is the trim command. Now another thing I want you to understand is this. Apart from the trim command, I want to get rid of this command. I click on enter, and if you notice it, all these lines are of different segments. They are not like polylines, and I want them to be polyline. What am I going to do? I'm going to write the word, click the word J for join, and I'll click enter. So I'll cross it, or I pick them one after the other. So I want this to join with this, to join with this, to join with this, to join with this, and to join with this, right? So if I click on enter, once I touch one part, every part is going to what? Blue. You can see the difference. So now the next command I want to introduce you to is what we call the move command. So I want to move this to this part of the screen here, right? So I'm going to click on, you see this thing here that looks, this symbol that looks like a navigation button. I'm going to click on it, right? Now I read the command. If you don't know what to do, read the command line. It says move select the object. So I want to move this object here, right? And I click on enter. Then it's telling me specify the base point to move. I want to move you this here. So I want to move it to this point here, right? And the reason why it's going to, if I want to repeat the same action, I click on enter again. I select the object, specify the base, and I click on enter. then specify the base point. So I click on this, I can move it anywhere I want to move it. If I off my auto, this is the auto here, if I off it, this thing will move in different direction, right? But if I on the auto mode here, this will only move in either horizontal or vertical axis. Is that again? And maybe I move it this way, and I click enter, right? So if I move this way, now it is lost somewhere and I want it to come back to where it is. I'm going to press P for pan, click on enter. Then I'll start dragging it down until I get what I want. Is that taken? I'll drag it down. But if I don't want that, I can exit it, right click, then I'll exit the pan. Then let me redo so that everything I have will come back to normal. So that is the pan here. Now the next thing I would like to introduce you to here will be we've used the trim command, we've used the copy command. Now the next thing we'll be doing here will be the offset command, right? So let me redo all this to what we have here. So I'm redoing it, I'm clicking on this icon here, so everything is going back to the way it is before. Now if you notice this now, this is let me use a polyline first and just draw a line this way. I want to show you something. So this is what we have here. Then enter. Now does the same thing. This is a line, this is a polyline. I told you the difference. When you touch one part, all the parts will glow. When you line, you touch one part, only that part is going to what? Glow. Now I want to offset. Now the next command here will be the offset command, right? So if I click on this button here, it is called the offset, and I click on it this way. Now what is it telling us? It's telling us we specify the offset distance. Let's say it is giving us 1. Let me use 1. I click on enter. So I'm going to select the object I want to offset. I want to offset this. So if I click on it, if I want it to be inside, I'll come inside. If I want it to be outside, I'll come outside. So this is what we have, offset. If I click on it again, it will continue in that manner. Click on it again, to continue in that manner, and so on. Right? But if I come here, I click here, it will come in. You can see that it's only selecting each part of that line. So first of all, let me just go back and show you a good example. I click on the offset this way. This is the offset button. It's telling me specify offset distance. I say okay, 1, enter. I click on the part I want to offset here, right? You can see that. I come here also, I click here. I come here also, I click here. I come here also, I click here. You can see that. And I want to trim everything. So I click on enter to get rid of the present command. To select a new command, I click on trim. You must click enter. So I don't want all these lines here. So I'm trimming it to the nearest boundary. You can see that. To the nearest boundary, you can see. So enter to get rid of it. Now that is for normal line. Now for polyline, if I click on the offset this way, it's saying specify first offset distance. I click 1, enter. So when I click here, if I come in, everything will come in at once because they are all together, they are not segmented. But in this case, I have to bring them one by one. If I come here again, I click on this to come in. If I come here again, if I click on this one to go outside, and so on and so forth. So the next thing we'll be trying to do here is we've talked about the arc, and we've talked about the join, the polyline, the mirror, and again the next one is the fillet. Now I want to the fillet here. You can press F, you can come here and you click on the fillet, So you just click on F on the command and the fillet is shown, enter, right? So it says you can specify it by using the radius. So click on the radius arrow here. And what is it telling you? It says specify fillet. So let's say 1 again, the distance of the fillet, the radius of the fillet, enter. So I want here and here. I repeat it again by pressing my enter. I want here and here. I press my enter again. I want here. This is what we call the fillet, and here. Enter again to repeat the command. I want here and here. That is the fillet, right? I click on enter. Once I click on this and here, to close, or anywhere I want it to be. I want here and here, both in polyline, and so they work the same way. So let's do that command again and see. Let me eradicate this. Enter. I'll come to the fillet, F for the fillet. Then I click on enter. Then I'll come down here to select what is called radius. So the distance I want, if I say 2, I'll click on enter. Then I'll go and specify the point I want to fill, this and this. You can see that? So that is the fillet command. Now let me remove all what I've done here by using the erase command. I want to remove everything. Enter, right? And I don't actually want these lines on the screen. I can actually remove it by clicking on the grid, which is given as F7. So if I click on it, it will disappear off. Now the next thing I want to do, let's do something nice. I click on my line. I specify first points according to what the command line is telling me. Then I move. I assume that the length is 10, or I take that back a little bit. Let's say it is 8. Enter. Then the next one, another 8. Enter. Another 8. Enter. Then C for close. That is a close here. Is that taken? Now I pick up my circle command. Then I'll get the center of this line this way, at my midpoint to be the center of my circle. Then I move my circle to this end here. I repeat the same command again. I come here, the midpoint. I get my circle to this end here. You can see that. Then I click on my trim. Either I click on the trim or I click on T arrow and I click enter. So I don't want this, 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 I don't want this. So this is what we have. I click enter to end that command. Now they are all different segments. I can join them together by typing J on my keyboard, enter. Then I want to join everything, so I can just use my cross window to select everything, then I click enter, so they are one like this. The reason is so that if I move one part, every part will move. And if I want to move this, I'll go to my move command. I'll select what I want to move, enter, then I'll go to the base point I want, so I can move it. If I want to copy, I click on the copy command, I specify what I want to copy, this, then I click enter, specify any different radius this way. So it's copying to as many parts as I want. You can see that, enter. If I want to mirror, I can click on the mirror command this way. For data still, let me just, if I want to delete, I can just delete this and delete this, enter. So if I want to mirror, click on the mirror command, come here, enter. So where I want it to mirror in, either here, I'll just come here and I'll mirror this, enter. So this is what we have here. Now we'll be looking at the chamfer command. Now if you click on the CHA, if you look at the command palette, you click enter. Now it is not telling us to what? To specify, now what you not click is the distance. So you click on the distance, it's asking you to specify first chamfer distance. So I can decide for it to be what? To be 1. I click enter. It's still telling me on the command palette that what? Specify second distance. I'll say 1 again. I'll click on enter. Now it said I should select the first line. So I want it to be between here and here. So this is chamfer. I have what? I have chamfered this. Is that okay now? Sometimes it can be in form of an angle. Let's try that command again. I'll click on CHA, enter. It's telling me to specify. I'll just go, I can click on distance, I can click on angle. So if I click on angle, what is it telling me? Say I specify the length first. I say okay, 1. I click enter. Now if you look at it again, it's telling me the angle that I want. So if I want an angle, I can set for it to be 45 or 60. So let's say 45. Now I can easily say I'll press the shift, then this angle here. Then I'm going to type in, let's say 45. Right? Then I'll click enter. So it says to specify the first, select the first line. So this is my first line, and this is my second line. Now this is at angle of what? 45. If I redo this, I type in my chamfer again, CHA, enter. I go into angle, and it's asking me for the distance. I press 1, enter. Then it's telling me for the angle. I press shift, then this less than on your keyboard, then I press maybe, let's say 60 degree, right? Then I click on enter. It says to specify, as to select first line. So between this line and this line that I want. So this is it. It's at what? At 60 degree. So that is how you can use your chamfer. So the next one we'll be looking, it will be the cross window. The cross window is used to select multiple objects. Now I want to delete all this at one go. I'm going to click on the erase, right? And I'll come from the left hand side, I'll click, then I'll click and leave, then I'll drag it out to this level here. Then I'll click again. So I'll click enter, so it has deleted. Right? So that is the cross window when you're coming from the left hand side. Now we'll move. Let's take another illustration. If I take my line this way, right, and I click it, the first point here, second point, I didn't really take any dimension, and I want to draw this. Now I didn't know the length. I can easily move my cursor to this end here, then I'll bring it down. So you see my polar tracking is on. So I'll connect these two together. So click enter to end it. So if you notice this line is segmented because it's our normal line, right? If I want it to be a single unit as one entity, I'm going to use what is called two command I can use. One of the command I can use is the region command. You see this? If I click on this draw tool down here, this is what we call the region command, or I'll just on my command line or command palette, I'll write the word ROE. ROE for what? ROEGION, right? That is region. So I'll click enter. So it's telling me to select the object. So I want this and this and this and this, then I click enter. Now they are in one unit. You see, if I touch them, they glow. Is that okay now? Now if I want it to go back to my normal line, it should not be, this is in polyline now. If I want it to be in the normal line, the next command I'm looking at to be the explode command. So if I click on this is what we call explode. I click on it and I come to what I want to explode. I click on it, right? Then I press enter. Now if you notice it, they are in one word, in one entity. It is the same thing as saying your join, right? If I want to join this, I've showed you how to use join command earlier. Now the next command now we'll be looking at will be the break command. If I want to break this line, like an open circuit, especially when we are dealing in electrical engineering, a circuit, an open circuit, I'll type in my B arrow for what? For break. Now click enter, right? So I'll come to where I want to break, probably this point with my P2 and maybe here. So this is what we call the break. So I'll break these 2 points here. And if I want to join them back, I can easily use my join command too. Right, so I'll introduce you to will be what? The join command, which I've introduced you to earlier. So I can click on J for join, I click enter. It's asking me select source object. So I want to join this and this. When you click on it, you come to the next point, you click on it, then you click enter, it will join. So that is what the join can do. The join can make a line become a polyline, can also join two breakpoints. Is that okay? Now the next thing we'll look here is the extend command. You see this is what we call the extend, the stretch. We call it the stretch. I want to stretch this, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to click on that, the stretch command here, and I'm going to draw a window. This time it will not be from the left hand side. I will not use this, right? I'm not going to use this. I'll come from this side here. So to show me the green region. So if I click one part, then I'll move this. I'll come here. This is where I want to select. I click on it, right? So saying that, I'll now click enter. So it says select the base point. So any base here, anywhere at this base point, just click on it. Then you start extending it. So I can extend it to as much point that I want to extend it to. I might say okay to, let me say 10, to be 10, right? Do you understand that? So this is how you use the stretch command. And we have the move command. The rotate command, right? So I can easily rotate this by clicking this here. I'll click that rotate symbol here, and I'm going to come to, now if you notice it, this is still normal line, is segmented. I cannot just pick, if I pick one part, like the all other part will be left behind. So I need to select everything. So I can pick them one after the other, or I can use my window. So I can, from the left hand side, I'll click, then I'll move it this way, ensure that I select everything. We'll use this for multiple selection. I click this, right? So I'll click enter. Is that taken? So I want to rotate. It's not telling me I specify the base point. So anyway I want to rotate, maybe here, I'll click on it and it will be rotating. You see, the reason why it's rotating this way is because the auto mode is on. I can actually come here on the status bar and put off the auto mode, which is this. Then I can be moving it in this manner. So this is what is rotated at this point. So taking any base point I want, I'll click. So enter. So this is some of the most important commands. As we move ahead across this course, we'll be exposed to more of these commands. So if you find this video helpful, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.